She leaped into a stranger's arms at midnight, unknowingly embracing the love of a millionaire. The clock struck midnight, its eerie chime echoing through the empty streets of Willow Creek. The moon hung low, casting an otherworldly glow on the cobblestones, where shadows danced as if alive. In that chilling moment, Emma, heart racing, bolted from the alleyway, her breath hitching in her throat. She had just escaped a confrontation that felt straight out of a nightmare. With wide eyes and trembling hands, she darted into the night, the faint sound of footsteps pursuing her, each thud amplifying the panic clawing at her chest. As she rounded a corner, her instinct screamed for her to flee. Then, out of nowhere, a figure emerged, tall and imposing, wrapped in an aura of mystery. Time froze as Emma crashed into him, the warmth of his body enveloping her. She looked up, and for a breathless moment, their eyes locked. His were like stormy seas, deep, turbulent, and magnetic. She had leaped into the arms of a stranger, igniting a spark of destiny neither of them anticipated. Little did she know, this man was not just any stranger, he was a millionaire, tightly bound in a world of glittering wealth and piercing secrets. "What's your name?" he asked, his rich, smooth voice unsettling her. Panic turned to confusion as she realized she had crossed into a world that could either save her or shatter her. Around them, the street seemed to hold its breath. A nearby tree swayed gently, whispering secrets in the night breeze. Emma barely noticed the onlookers who had gathered, their eyes wide with judgment, murmurs weaving through the crowd like an electric current. And just as that tension peaked, Emma was caught in a whirlwind of alarming thoughts. How had her life spiraled into chaos so quickly? Where was she running? Every heartbeat echoed uncertainty as she stared into his eyes, searching for answers. But he smiled, and a flicker of hope ignited deep within her. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." But before Emma could respond, a shrill scream pierced the air, eyes turned, gasp followed gasp. Someone was in trouble. Emma's heart sank as she peered past her enigmatic companion, her instincts pulling her to the edge of danger. What awaited her on the other side of that scream? Was the millionaire standing beside her friend or foe? As the chaos erupted, Emma's choices circled her like vultures, and with spiraling emotions, she braced herself for whatever was to come. The scream hung in the air like a thundercloud, heavy and electrifying. Emma took a step back, the grip of the mysterious man's arms anchoring her. Were those footsteps still pursuing her? Was there even time to breathe? With a surge of instinct, she glanced around. The crowd had begun to react, some backing away, others moving forward like hungry wolves drawn to fresh meat. Emma's heart raced, and she realized this wasn't just some random outburst. It felt ominous, resonating with a clarity that chilled her. "Stay here," her stranger commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. But Emma wasn't the type to stand idle. Her mind raced, her heart pounding fiercely against her ribcage. What if this was about her? What if they'd come looking for her? As he tightened his grip, she felt both an unsettling thrill and a flicker of safety. Yet that allure was quickly overshadowed by the horror that unfolded ahead of them. A woman, disheveled and wide-eyed, staggered into view, her clothing torn, trailing remnants of what must have been a desperate escape. Emma's breath caught. This was real, a nightmare come to life. What happened? The millionaire's question was urgent, but Emma's focus was on the stranger's face, his deep-set brows knit together with fierce concern. He was just as much a part of this chaos as she was, but Emma could sense a storm brewing beneath his calm facade. They took her. The woman gasped, her voice trembling as she pointed back into a dark alley. "They're coming. You have to help her. The man's eyes darkened. Emma felt the shift in his energy, like a lion preparing to pounce. Who took her? He asked sharply. The woman shook her head, anxiety tightening her features. Just run. You can't help. No, Emma interrupted. We can't leave her. Her own voice surprised her with its firm resolve. The man looked at her, perhaps weighing the danger against the gut pull of her determination. Emma didn't care. Something deep inside her grudged against standing by while another was in danger. A group of shadowy figures emerged from the alley, illuminated by the sickly glow of the moon. The crowd gasped, recoiling. Emma felt the stranger's tension rising. Emma, we need to go. He said urgently, his intensity overwhelming. She met his eyes. There was fear there, but also something more: commitment. The weight of his presence began to anchor her. That woman is in trouble. We can't just leave. Every word resonated with purpose. With a deep breath, he seemed to reconsider. All right, he said finally, his voice low but firm. We create a distraction. On my count. She nodded, adrenaline surging through her veins. Emma had no idea what awaited her, but she finally felt alive, the stakes climbing higher with every heartbeat. 3-2 before he could count down to 1, a gunshot rang out, sharp and echoing. It sliced through the night air, and the crowd erupted into chaotic screams. Emma's heart stopped, only to race again as she instinctively grabbed the stranger's arm tighter. Run! He shouted, as people scattered like leaves in a storm. What had they just stepped into? And who was this stranger really? Emma didn't have time to ponder as they dashed into the chaos, ready to confront whatever dark forces threatened them. But one thought burned in her mind: there was no turning back now. As they plunged deeper into the heart of the danger, she couldn't help but wonder, what had she unleashed in their attempt to help? The air crackled around them, each moment drawing them closer to the unknown and potentially deadly truths. The world blazed around Emma, chaos and fear intermingling like smoke in her lungs. Her feet pounded against the pavement as she and the stranger sprinted deeper into the fray. Shadows danced in the periphery, dark shapes weaving in and out of sight. The gunshot rang in her ears, a relentless echo that refused to fade. Where are we going? She gasped, glancing sideways at the man. His jaw was clenched tight, eyes scanning the alley entrances, searching for threats. Just keep running. He barked, urgency peeling the words from his lips. Gripped by adrenaline, Emma pushed herself faster. They reached a narrow street where the neon lights flickered above, casting erratic colors onto the slick asphalt. She glanced back, heart thudding, haunted by the memory of the woman's face, the terror, the pleading. Every instinct screamed for her to turn around, to save her, but the stranger's solid presence urged her onward. With a sudden twist, the man veered into a side alley, pulling Emma with him. He shoved her behind a dumpster, the metallic smell of refuse and fear mingling violently in her nostrils. Heart racing, they huddled in the shadows, waiting, listening. Do you see them? Emma whispered, her eyes wide as she scanned their surroundings. Not yet, he replied, his voice tight. Just hold on. In the silence, their breathing mingled. Time stretched painfully. Shadows began to merge, forming shapes at the alley's entrance. Emma's mind whirled. Who were these people? Why was she here? A dark weight wrapped around her heart. The man next to her was a mystery, yet he felt like a lifeline, the only thing standing between her and whatever hunted them. Then, a figure appeared, a fast silhouette slipping from one side of the alley to the other. Emma felt her breath hitch. A second figure followed, lurching forward, and then another. She scanned their faces, twisting her perception as if drawing in light to reveal the truth hiding in the darkness. They weren't looking for her, they were searching for someone. For the woman. Wait. She hissed, grabbing the man's arm. They're after the girl. He turned his intense gaze toward her. If we don't move now, we're done. But Emma protested, torn between duty and self-preservation. She had no reason to care, but for some reason, she couldn't shake the need to help. 8 of them, maybe more, he counted quietly, tension radiating from his body. We can't confront them head-on. We need a plan. You think they'll just give up? Emma shot back, his eyes narrowed. Right now, it's all about survival. I know someone who can help, but we have to get out of here. Now. Before she could respond, a loud shout echoed through the shadows, shattering her thoughts. Where are you hiding? It was a voice filled with menace, punctuated by laughter that dripped with disdain. Emma's gut clenched. She stared into the alley, the dark maw of uncertainty threatening to swallow them whole. The idea of facing those hunters made her soul shake. On the count of 3, we run toward the street, he said, gripping her shoulders, his eyes boring into hers. No hesitation. 1. The laughter grew louder, a taunt like brittle glass shattering through the air. 2. She felt the weight of his urgency, his unyielding spirit feeding her resolve. But then doubt crashed over her like a tidal wave. Was she ready to leap into uncertainty? 3. Go. As they burst from their hiding place and into the street, Emma's breath caught. The reality of their choice surged into her veins. She half-turned, heart pounding, peering into the darkness they'd fled. Behind them, the glint of eyes and wild forms unleashed chaos like fireworks against the night sky, but there was no time to look back. Ahead, the unknown awaited, both terrifying and electric. As they sprinted, Emma realized they weren't just running, they were tearing through the veil of a world she never thought existed. The thrill of danger mingled with the scent of fear. What lay ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, but Emma felt it twisting the core of her being. One thing was clear, she'd ventured too far to turn back now. What secrets lurked in this alley of shadows? And would they uncover the truth before it was too late? Their feet echoed on the pavement, a rapid heartbeat in the darkness. Emma this time focused ahead, the frantic adrenaline coursing through her veins like wildfire. Every step felt desperate, every breath a fight for survival. What is your name? She panted, her voice barely cutting through the cacophony of chaos surrounding them. Tyler. He shouted back, a hint of urgency blending with his bark. And you need to keep up. Where are we going? She gasped, already feeling a stitch in her side. To a safe house. I swear, it's just a few blocks away. As they rounded another corner, a sudden flood of lights blinded them, blue and red flashing fiercely against the backdrop of the night. Somewhere, a siren wailed, but it was quickly drowned out by the footsteps of their pursuers growing nearer, sharper. Over there. Tyler pointed to an old, run-down building that stood alone like a sentinel against the night's threat. He grabbed her hand and urged her toward the door. Emma felt her pulse quicken, hair standing on end as they dashed through the open entrance. It creaked eerily, as if the very building was warning them. Inside, the shadows were deep, and the smell of damp was overwhelming. Stay close, he murmured, guiding her through a darkened hallway. The light from outside faded behind them, leaving just a sliver of illumination from a cracked window. What if they find us? She asked, her voice trembling, fear prickling her spine. They won't. Not if we stay quiet, he reassured her softly, his grip tightening around her hand. As they crept deeper into the building, Emma's mind raced. Who were those people? Why did they want the woman? The weight of her unanswered questions pressed down on her like a heavy fog. She couldn't shake the image of the woman's face, that desperate plea buried in her memory. Forcing her thoughts away, she focused on Tyler, who suddenly halted, pressing his back against the wall, eyes trained to the doorway they'd entered. The silence was deafening, only the sound of their synchronized breaths filling the void. Then, shouts erupted outside, bouncing off the walls. Voices broke the stillness, distorted and sinister. Ensure no one gets out. Check every room. Emma's pulse quickened. The hunters were getting closer. In the darkness, her instincts flared. She could feel Tyler's tension radiating off him, his muscles coiled tight like a spring, ready to explode into action. What now? She whispered, heart hammering like a war drum. We need a distraction, he said, eyes scanning the room. Something big enough to draw them away. Emma's mind raced through possibilities. The window. She pointed toward the cracked pane, the only escape they had left. Are you crazy? Tyler hissed, glancing back at the door. They LLC us. I don't care. If we make it loud enough, we can slip out the back. Frantic determination filled her words, surprising even herself. Fine. Do it. He snapped, thrusting his hand toward the window. Without hesitating, Emma grabbed a nearby wooden chair and hurled it against the glass. It shattered with a violent crash, glittering shards exploding in every direction. Now, let us go. Tyler pulled her away from the noise, rushing down the hall, searching for another exit. But just as they reached a door at the end, a figure appeared in the dim light, a dark silhouette blocking their path. Gotcha, a voice drawled, low and mocking, cutting through Emma's resolve like ice. Emma froze, heart in her throat, the dread pouring over her like a cold wave. What do we do? She fought to maintain her composure, gripping Tyler's arm. Trust me, he murmured, stepping closer to her, resolve firm in his eyes. Just then, the pursuing voices were swept away in a sudden flurry of chaos, echoing laughter and shouts as figures crashed into the building behind them. Emma exchanged a glance with Tyler, and in that moment, they both understood. Before the fear could paralyze her, Emma took a steadied breath. Let us go. But for how long could they keep running? Emma felt the weight of secrets unfurling before her, and the only certain truth was that this was going to end easily. Moving to escape, she sensed it, the shifting tides of fate rising in the air. Each moment felt like a door creaking open to a reality she never asked for. Could they outmaneuver the danger lurking behind them? Or were they already trapped in a web they could not escape? The figure loomed closer, shadows wrapping around it like a cloak. Emma's heart raced as she exchanged terrified glances with Tyler, who was now rigid beside her. Back away slowly, the silhouette called out, a taunting lilt in the voice. The stranger stepped into a patch of dim light, revealing a face marred by a cruel smile, eyes gleaming with a predatory hunger. Let her go, Tyler said, his voice low but firm, stepping protectively in front of Emma. You don't want this fight. I think you underestimate me, the man sneered, his gaze shifting between them, eyes narrowing as he weighed his options. Suddenly, the chaotic sounds from outside erupted again, like a violent thunderstorm crashing down. Emma knew they didn't have time. We can't stand here. She hissed, pushing against Tyler, adrenaline forcing her to act. We need to run. Emma urged, breaking the tension that hung thick in the air. Tyler didn't argue, he lunged to the side, grabbing Emma's hand, tugging her toward a door lining the far edge of the hallway. But the stranger's laughter echoed, chilling them in their tracks. Too late. You have no idea what you're getting into. You can't escape. He took a step forward as if daring them to try. With a spark of desperation, Emma tugged on Tyler's arm, desperation ignited in her chest. We'll have to risk it. She rasped, determination coursing through her veins. Now! Tyler yelled, sending them both racing toward the door just as the figure lunged at them. As he tried to grab Emma, Zach slipped out of reach, narrowly avoiding his grasp. The door swung open, revealing an empty alley, the cool night air crashing against them like a welcome rush. They wasted no time in sprinting across the pavement, heart pounding in sync with their desperate flight. But just as they embraced the freedom of the night air, sirens blared closer, the sounds of cars tearing through streets like predators hunting their prey. Emma's stomach dropped. They're coming. Tyler skidded to a halt. Their only choice was down a narrow side street, an unlit, dingy passageway littered with debris. This way. He urged, dragging her down the alley, his eyes wide with fear and urgency. As they dashed into the darkness, Emma cursed her pounding heart. What had she signed up for? All she wanted was to be left alone, in her quiet life, away from chaos. But now she was entangled in something monstrous. Why was that guy after you? Tyler suddenly asked, his breath coming out in ragged bursts. I don't know. Emma stammered, shaken. I think, he was after the woman. The one I saw earlier. What woman? Tyler demanded, curiosity mixing with fear. Emma hesitated, dread pooling deep in her stomach. The woman in the car. She looked terrified. A woman in trouble, huh? Tyler raised an eyebrow, glancing back toward the alleyway, listening for sounds of pursuit. Sounds like trouble has a way of finding you. Just then, a dim light flickered in their periphery, illuminating a doorway half hidden by grime. No idea if they were walking into another trap. Emma halted in front of it, pulse racing. This could be an exit or a dead end. Tyler took a deep breath, resolve returning. I'll go first. If there's trouble, I'm coming with you. Emma interjected, a fire igniting within her. She was tired of running blindly. If she was going to fight, it felt like the time. They couldn't keep hiding forever. As they stepped toward the door, Emma felt an echo of the woman's plea resonate within her. This was bigger than them, they were caught in a larger game. But what if she could be the one to change the tide? She glanced up at Tyler, determination brimming in her chest. Ready? We don't have a choice, he said, steeling himself. Together, they stepped inside, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. And as the door creaked shut behind them, the weight of secrets and shadows settled, and Emma could feel it in her bones. The scent of danger lingered still, always just out of sight, threatening to engulf her anew. What awaited them inside was uncertain, but one thing was clear, this journey was only beginning. The door slammed shut behind them, plunging Emma and Tyler into total darkness. A stale scent surrounded them, thick as a fog and filled with tension. Panic threatened to rise again, but Emma clamped down on it, fighting for clarity. Can you see anything? Tyler whispered, his voice barely rising above the whisper of their breaths. No, Emma replied, straining her eyes. The darkness felt suffocating, each second stretching painfully long. She could hear the thump of her heartbeat, a drum echoing in her ears. Suddenly, a sound came from deeper within the shadows, a faint rustling, like something shifting. It was just an echo, or perhaps a figment of her imagination, but the instinct to flee surged again. Let us move, Tyler said, urgency edging his tone. They stepped cautiously into the unknown, each footfall echoing like a roar in the silent void. Emma pressed closer to Tyler, the warmth of his body a fragile comfort amid the impending doom. The walls were cold, the ground uneven. She reached out, fingers brushing against something smooth and metallic. A cold chill ran down her spine. Don't touch that. Tyler said sharply, as if sensing her hesitation. It could be a trap. What kind of place is this? Emma's voice was laced with dread. Who would want to be here? A flicker of light invaded the darkness, momentarily blinding them. Emma squinted, instinctively shielding her face as a dim bulb illuminated a narrow corridor ahead. The light revealed peeling wallpaper, and the walls seemed to warp with shadows, hiding secrets in their depths. Maybe there's a way out, Tyler suggested hopefully, starting towards the glow. Emma followed closely, every instinct screaming to stay alert. As they crept down the corridor, the light glimmered against something metallic on the ground. Emma knelt down, picking up a silver locket intricately designed, its surface marked with a symbol she recognized from somewhere, a serpent encircling a key. What is it? Tyler asked, peering over her shoulder. I don't know, but it seems familiar, Emma muttered, flipping it open. Inside, a faded photograph of the woman she had seen earlier in the car stared back at her. Is that her? Tyler asked, a frown creasing his brow. Yes, Emma breathed, her heart racing. This is the woman. What does this mean? He glanced around, as if expecting the former owner to materialize from the shadows. The moment felt heavy, laden with the weight of unanswered questions. Suddenly, a sound vibrated through the air, like footsteps approaching from behind. Fear surged through Emma, tightening her chest. "Run!" Tyler shouted, grabbing her hand once more. They bolted down the corridor, adrenaline rushing fast. The footsteps echoed, closing in, a relentless reminder of the danger at their backs. As they turned a corner, they found themselves in a larger room, dim and cavernous, with flickering lights struggling to stay alive. Shelves lined the walls, stuffed with boxes that looked like they hadn't been touched in years. "Where do we go now?" Emma exclaimed, breathless. The reality of their surroundings twisted the dread in her stomach sharper. "Maybe we can hide," Tyler began, but his words were sliced by the sound of the footsteps growing louder. There was nowhere to go but forward. "Over there." Emma pointed to a faint glow peeking through a door on the far side of the room, their only option. They rushed toward it, but as they reached out, the sound of heavy boots told them they were not alone. Tyler's grip tightened around Emma's hand as they pushed through the door together, diving into the unknown. Behind them, the door slammed open with a crash, and the chilling laughter of the figure echoed through the air, slicing through any flicker of hope. "Nowhere left to run," he taunted, the darkness swallowing his words like smoke. What awaited on the other side was an enigma wrapped in shadows, but it was too late for retreat. With their backs against the wall, they could either face the unknown or allow themselves to be consumed by the threat lingering right behind them. And as they stepped forward, the ground shifted beneath their feet, plunging them into a whirlpool of chaos, choices, and looming darkness. Little did they know that decisions made in this moment would entangle them far deeper than just mere survival. Was the woman in the photo merely an innocent victim, or did she hold the key to unlocking the darker secrets of what was to come? As they stumbled through the doorway, a rush of air hit them, cold and damp. Emma gasped as the light hit her eyes. They weren't in a hallway anymore. They had entered a vast, open space, the kind that gives way to echoes and shadows. The dim lights barely illuminated an arena of towering shelves that twisted upward like skeletal fingers reaching for the ceiling. "Where are we?" Tyler murmured, scanning the cavernous room. "Maybe some kind of storage area?" Emma suggested, though uncertainty dripped from her voice. As their eyes adjusted to the light, they noticed boxes stacked haphazardly, covered with dust like forgotten relics of past lives. Old furniture lay discarded, their wood splintered, showcasing years of neglect. Emma's heart raced. This was wrong, too wrong. They had stepped into something far beyond just an abandoned building. "Keep your eyes open." Tyler's voice was calm, but Emma could sense the tension behind it. They ventured deeper into the room, the low hum of a flickering light bulb above their heads creating a sinister ambience. Suddenly, out of the corner of her eye, Emma caught movement among the shadows, an impression of a figure darting behind a stack of boxes. Instinctively, she tightened her grip on Tyler's hand. "Did you see that?" she whispered harshly. Before Tyler could respond, a cacophony erupted from the other end of the room, a series of loud bangs, like metal clashing against metal. Emma's heart dropped. "It's him," she breathed, panic surging. They were being hunted. Another bang sounded, closer this time, and she felt the urgency in Tyler's grip. "We need to find a way out now." They rushed through the room, pushing aside dusty boxes filled with faded memories. As they made their way toward the far wall, the ground began to tremble beneath them, a deep rumble that felt like the world was coming apart at the seams. "Look!" Tyler shouted, pointing to a fire escape ladder hanging from an opening in the wall. "We can get up there." Breathless, Emma nodded, but as they started to run, a loud crash echoed behind them. An avalanche of boxes fell, blocking their path back. Emma spun around, her breath caught in her throat. The figure she had seen leaped into the light, and terror gripped her heart as she recognized him, the man from the photograph. "Too slow," he sneered, his eyes glinting with a manic thrill. "You're not getting away that easily." Tyler pushed Emma behind him, his stance protective as he faced the advancing figure. "Stay back." The man laughed, the sound reverberating through the space like a deranged echo. You've opened a door to secrets far beyond your comprehension. But don't worry, you'll learn soon enough. His eyes danced with wicked delight, and Emma could feel the room closing in on them. Let us go. Tyler urged, grabbing Emma's hand and darting toward the ladder. They could hear the man's footsteps pounding behind them, heavy and relentless, a predator savoring the chase. Each step felt like a race against destiny. As they jumped beneath the ladder, Tyler shoved Emma up first, urgency layering his tone. Climb. Emma scrambled up, reaching for the rungs with trembling fingers. Every climb felt harder, the thudding footsteps growing closer. She could almost feel the heat of the figure's malicious presence behind her. Faster. Tyler yelled, his breath quickening with every push of adrenaline. Finally, Emma reached the top and pulled herself onto a small ledge. Tyler followed closely, clambering up just as the figure's hand grazed the ladder below. They both stumbled into a small, dimly lit room, slamming the door behind them. What now? Emma gasped, her lungs burning. Find something to barricade the door, Tyler ordered. Emma turned, panic in her chest as she scanned the small space. There had to be something that could help them. She spotted an old desk, nearby, shabby but sturdy. Here! She cried, rushing to pull it toward the door. As they pushed the desk against the door, the sound of fists pounding on it erupted, punctuated by the sinister laughter that sent chills rippling through Emma. Nowhere to run, my dear, the man taunted from beyond the wood. This is only the beginning. Regaining her wits, Emma took a deep breath. In the cramped room, she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. What does he want from us? Before Tyler could respond, the lights flickered ominously, and the laughter ceased. An eerie silence enveloped them, heavy with anticipation. Where are we? Emma whispered, her voice trembling with fear, but the door rattled again, even harsher this time, making them jump. Now we have to decide, do we confront him or wait until he makes his move? As they exchanged a look filled with dread, an unsettling realization dawned upon them. The man was not merely a stranger, he was part of something far greater and far more dangerous than they had ever known. Whatever happens next, it's going to change everything, and with that, they braced themselves, knowing that the storm was about to break loose. Would they survive the nightmare that lay ahead? Or would the secrets buried in that room consume them both? Emma's heart raced as the silence thickened around them, turning her pounding pulse into an agonizing drumbeat. The heavy door shuddered under the weight of unseen fists, each blow systematic and deliberate. What if he gets in? Her voice trembled as she leaned into Tyler, desperately seeking the comfort of his presence. He won't get through the desk, Tyler replied, though the uncertainty laced in his tone betrayed his bravado. He edged closer to the door, pressing his ear against the cold wood. The pounding suddenly stopped, leaving a suffocating stillness that felt almost unnatural. Maybe he has gone, Emma dared to whisper, hope flickering in her chest like the dying light overhead, but Tyler shot her a warning look. No. He is just waiting. As they huddled in the dim light, Emma's thoughts spiraled. Who was this man? Why had he led them here? Pieces of the puzzle began to form, foreshadowing dangers she couldn't yet grasp. The man's words echoed in her mind, you've opened a door to secrets far beyond your comprehension. What had they stumbled into? I have to know more, Emma declared suddenly. We can't just hide forever. Fueled by a mix of dread and determination, she glanced around the cramped room for anything that might give them an advantage. A flickering bulb caught her eye, illuminating a small table covered in dust. She darted toward it, brushing aside the years of grime to uncover loose papers and a battered notebook. Emma, what are you doing? Tyler's voice was tense, yet curious. I need answers, she replied, flipping through the pages frantically. Most were blank or covered in nonsensical scribbles, but then a name caught her eye, Elena Hawthorne. It sparked something deep within her, a name that felt like part of a conversation she was too far from remembering. Tyler! She exclaimed. This has to mean something. Look! She held out the notebook, pointing to the notes that hinted at something dark, a mention of experiments, disappearances, and patterns of behavior that sent chills down her spine. Experiments? Tyler questioned, frowning. What kind of experiments? Before she could respond, the door rattled violently again, almost wrenching off its hinges. Emma dropped the notebook, her breath hitching in her throat as fear surged anew. Stay behind me. Tyler positioned himself in front of her, a sudden surge of protectiveness emanating from him. The pounding intensified again, and then silence folded around them like a shroud. Emma felt the air shift, a new presence in the room. Her instincts screamed for her to run, but sheer terror rooted her in place. Ever so curious, aren't we? A voice hissed from beyond the door, smooth and menacing. It was the man, the hunter. But curiosity has its costs, my dear. Just as her mind raced for an escape, a treacherous creak echoed from the corner of the room. Tyler's attention flickered from the door to the darkness behind them, his instincts flaring. What was that? Emma felt her throat tighten as she turned around slowly. A shadow loomed, horrifyingly familiar, crawling closer from the shadows like a living nightmare. No, no, she whispered, her breath catching in panic as real horror dawned on her. Tyler, sensing her fear, whipped around. Emma, what is it? But it was too late. A figure stepped into the faint light, and Emma's breath caught in her throat. Elena Hawthorne, the man grinned, a predatory gleam in his eyes. He had somehow known. Let us find out what you're really made of, he taunted, and the door behind them burst open with an explosive force, sending them both tumbling backward. Emma's heart raced, panic spiking as she struggled to regain her footing. Run! Tyler shouted as they scrambled to their feet. In that moment, instinct kicked in, propelling them into a chaotic sprint deeper into the dark recesses of the room. Ahead, shadows danced restlessly, and the dim light flickered dangerously. Was this the end? Or perhaps, just perhaps, the beginning of something larger than either of them could fathom? What awaited them beyond the shadows? Would they uncover the truth, or was it simply too late? Emma could feel the tension swelling, waiting for it to break. Emma's feet pounded on the dark, grimy floor, her heart a chaotic rhythm threatening to drown out everything else. Tyler surged ahead, his breath hitching as they dove deeper into the murky shadows. The weight of unseen eyes bore down on them, every corner a lurking horror. Which way? Tyler gasped, shadows swallowing his outline, making him look more like a specter than a friend. Just keep going. Emma shouted, her voice quivering as they stumbled through the labyrinth of abandoned furniture and crumbling walls. Distant echoes of footsteps followed them, a chilling reminder that the hunter was right behind. They skidded into another room, slamming the door shut just in time. Emma leaned against it, her ears straining for any sound from beyond, praying the darkness still held their pursuer at bay. Do you think we lost him? Tyler asked, panting heavily, his face lit only by the dim light filtering through a cracked window. I don't know. I don't think he's going to let us go that easily. Emma's thoughts raced. The name Elena Hawthorne throbbed in her mind. We have to find out more about Elena. Could she be the key to this? Tyler shook his head, eyes wide. Are you serious? We're running for our lives here. One missing person can't what? Can't lead us toward the truth. Emma interrupted, urgency coursing through her veins. This, whatever this is, it connects back to her. We need something more. Suddenly, the door they had just closed rattled violently. The sound sent a shockwave through her body. He's here. Tyler shouted, moving toward the opposite side of the room. Tyler, wait. Emma reached for him, but before she could react, the door flung open with a force that made the walls tremble. The hunter loomed in the doorway, framed in the dim light like a monstrous apparition. Now don't be frightened, he drawled, his smile chilling. I only want to have a little chat. Run. Tyler yanked Emma away just as a hand shot out, fingertips grazing her arm like a predator's touch. The sensation sent icy fear coursing through her. They darted to the next room, hearts racing, but Emma's pulse wasn't just from fear. The name Elena Hawthorne screamed at her from the words in the notebook. They couldn't leave the answers behind. Over here. Emma urged as she noticed a small office on the far side. She rushed inside while Tyler fumbled with the door, trying desperately to keep the hunter at bay. A flickering light overhead cast a dim glow, illuminating more papers scattered across the room: maps, reports, and files. Emma! We don't have time. Tyler shouted, peeking past the doorframe. But Emma pressed forward, rifling through the mess until something caught her eye: a photograph, crumpled and faded. She held it to the light. A woman with long dark hair smiled brightly, her eyes full of life. This is Elena," Emma whispered, eyes widening. Dark scribbles covered the back: Experiment 7B. Subject confirmed living. What? Tyler's voice broke through her focus, panic rising. He moved closer, eyes darting around as if expecting the hunter to burst through any second. What is it? Emma's fingers trembled as she turned the photograph around. They were experimenting on her. The full weight of what this meant settled heavy on her shoulders. But why? And how do we stop this? Before Tyler could reply, they heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching fast. The hunter was closing in. Emma, we need to get out. But she hesitated, the photograph burning in her hands. There had to be something, some clue they could use. Before she could think twice, she tucked the photo inside her pocket. Now! Tyler urged, glancing fearfully at the door as it rattled again. With one last look back, an impulsive hope sparked in her chest. We find Elena. We can't leave without knowing how to end this. They barreled out of the office, racing down an endless corridor, adrenaline pushing them forward. The shadows seemed to stretch out like grasping hands, and Emma could feel the danger pressing in around them. Emma, look! Tyler shouted suddenly, pointing down a side passageway. Whatever it is, let us go. She replied, taking a leap of faith into the unknown, but as they rounded the corner, a new horror awaited them: a massive, towering door marked with strange symbols, the air around it vibrating with energy. What is that? Tyler's voice wavered, fear mingling with curiosity. Emma could only stare, her heart pounding and spirit igniting with determination. It might be everything, and as she reached for the handle, a chilling thought struck her: what if opening this door unleashed something they were unprepared for? Could they truly face whatever lay beyond? Emma's fingers trembled as they hovered over the towering door's handle, uncertainty clawing at her insides. Tyler stood beside her, tension crackling like electricity in the air. Are you sure about this? He whispered, his voice a low growl of concern. I mean, we don't know what's on the other side. I don't know. She shot back, a flood of frustration spilling out. But staying here isn't an option. We have to end this. Heart pounding like a drum, she grasped the handle and twisted. The door creaked open, a hint of light spilling from the crack and illuminating parts of the cryptic symbols etched into the frame. A heavy mist hung just inside, cloaked in shadows that beckoned them closer. With a deep breath, she pushed the door wide, revealing a vast chamber beyond. The walls shimmered with an eerie glow, revealing complex machinery and tables laden with scattered papers, artifacts of a world steeped in secrets. Emma felt the shadows shift and loom around her, but this time, they didn't feel heavy with fear, they felt alive with potential. Tyler stepped in behind her, maintaining a guard as the door swung shut with a resounding thud. So, what now? He asked, glancing around as if expecting the hunter to emerge from the shadows at any moment. Emma's heart raced as she gazed into the chamber. We find Elena. She's the key, she said, conviction replacing her earlier doubt. They edged further inside, the atmosphere heavy and electric. Emma's gaze fell on a large screen flickering to life at the far end of the room. Illuminated figures danced across its surface: data, memories, lives captured in purgatory. One figure stood out, a confused expression frozen in time. Emma's breath hitched. It was Elena. That's her. Emma exclaimed, rushing toward the screen with urgency, Tyler at her heels. Wait, look at the data there. Tyler shouted, his finger stabbing at the information scrolling down the screen. Institute of Biological Research, Subject 7B. They were experimenting on her, and as he read, Emma felt the ground shift beneath her, a pulse in the room. The oppressive atmosphere felt charged, each second ticking like a countdown and amplifying her heartbeat. Tyler, there must be answers here. We need to figure out how to save her and us. But just as they began to absorb the information, a loud crash interrupted, reverberating through the chamber like thunder. The door behind them shattered, and the hunter emerged from the shadows, his features twisted in delight. Didn't he think you could evade me forever? He laughed, the sound richer and more malicious than before. Emma's pulse quickened, fear overtaking her resolve. Tyler! She screamed, instinctively moving to shield him with her body. No! Tyler yelled back, stepping in front of her. Stay back! He raised his hands in opposition, but the hunter merely laughed, taking a menacing step forward. You're too late, he mocked, eyes glinting with power. You'll never leave this place, this is where secrets die. No! Emma fired back, adrenaline pulsing through her veins like molten fire. Not if we unlock them first. She turned back to the screen, fingers darting over the interface, desperately searching for the files related to Elena. We need your notes. You think you can keep us trapped here? The hunter's eyes darkened as he realized the threat she posed. You fool! You don't know what you're meddling with. But Emma didn't care. With a furious determination, she clicked through pages, scanning for anything that could help her understand. We have to turn this around, Tyler. Working together, they spotted a sequence labeled experiments next to a series of codes. Each click ignited a sense of urgency. As soon as they deciphered the first few lines, pieces began to fall into place. These were plans for escape, a hidden key, an exit path. Here. This might unlock the way to her, Emma shouted, excitement surging through her as Tyler's eyes roamed the room for any possible means of escape. Done, Tyler replied through gritted teeth, steps beside her alert and filled with purpose. Let us make this quick. Within those frantic seconds, they followed the patterns, adrenaline racing as they sensed the hunter growing more desperate, more threatening with every breath. Your time is running out, he began, but Emma cut him off. Not today. She screamed, slamming her hand down on a flashing icon. In an instant, the room erupted in sound, an emergency alarm blaring and lights blinking. An exit door at the far end of the chamber buzzed and flared to life, beckoning them with urgency. Run! Tyler commanded, already bolting toward the newly revealed escape. Emma couldn't hold back, she sprinted after him, their footsteps echoing like a heartbeat through the chaos, but the hunter lunged after them, rage fueling his movements. You can't escape! He shouted, fury lacing each word. Just keep going! Emma yelled, peeking back only once. The hunter's face twisted in anger, fueled by the adrenaline of pursuit. They dashed through the energy-laden door, Emma still gripping the photograph tightly, her mind racing with newfound determination. We can end this. We will find Elena. As they barreled through the concealed passage, dim lights flickered. Shadows swayed around them, creating an illusion of claustrophobia, but they weren't looking back. The truth. Emma urged between gasps, we can't let him win. Almost there. Tyler shouted, his breath roaring through his lungs as they burst through another door, and just like that, they emerged into the open air. The moon hung high above, casting silver light on the chaos. Sirens blared in the distance, the night was alive. We made it. Tyler cheered, relief flooding his eyes, but Emma knew this wasn't over, the threat still loomed, that hunter was still behind them. But for now, they had emerged from the depths of darkness into the light of possibility. What if we go back for her? Emma whispered, heart racing, desperation clawing up her chest. Tyler met her gaze, confusion and admiration mixed in his expression. You really want to? No way am I leaving anyone behind, not again, she replied fiercely. With fire ignited in both of their hearts, they resolved to confront the secrets buried in the past, to fight until the end. This was more than survival, it was about finding hope amid the shadows. Emma took a deep breath, her voice steady. We'll find her, and we'll end this. And as they turned back toward the darkness, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, the night breathed with promise. They would change the course of fate together, not as victims, but as warriors. And with courage burning in their hearts, they stepped forward, prepared to unlock the final mysteries, united against the threat looming in the shadows. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories like this. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help bring more amazing tales to life. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about how you think Emma and Tyler will face their next challenges. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who can't miss the conclusion. Your support makes all the difference.